Hello everyone, just wanted to make a more casual video, talking about the channel, answering some Q&A questions, covering stuff I played this year, general chit-chat for the start of the new year. So the channel is doing great, and I appreciate everyone's support with the start of the new year. So last year I tried a couple new things. There was the playthrough. The first time I ever actually completed the main story of Skyrim, and I did top 5 of mod videos for Skyrim and Fallout, and while I did enjoy that a lot, I will be ending, the playthrough's come to an end anyway, but the top 5 videos I am wrapping up now, and if I do want to cover mods, I'm going to do more of a specialised, here's one video dedicated to one mod probably, and make it as good quality as I can, because the top 5 videos, I could put more effort into them, but the mod list stuff is what I really want to focus on. Plus there's so many channels out there that cover Skyrim and Fallout mods already, so I don't need to be added on top of that. So yeah, going forward, I hope to focus more on mod lists, and make each of the mod list videos as, professional as they can be. And then let's have some Q&A questions. So the first one is from Aura, who asked on my Patreon. This is a very obvious one, but how did you decide on the username Dropped Ice Cream? So, I grew up during the everyone at school played Xbox Call of Duty era, and so my original gamer tag was very cringe. And then I went through a few, one of them was my name in Elvish, because, that it sounded cool in my head. And then eventually, I don't know, I was thinking through names, and I liked the idea of an object and something weirdly describing it like, disgruntled sandwich off the top of my head. Something just a bit strange, and I thought of ice cream, and then I just thought of dropped ice cream, and it made me laugh, because it's such a sad thing. There's nothing worse than a dropped ice cream, and I don't know, it just sort of stuck. It's not some, cool origin story. I just sort of sat at my desk, thinking of names, and for some reason that came to my mind. And then they say, if one more question is allowed, sure, why not? Here's another obvious one. What element of a mod list is more important to you personally? As in, what would be your highest priority factor for which mod list you'd choose to play? Graphics, items, combat, gameplay, RP options, etc. Ooh, I mean, the proper answer is, a bit of everything, but I won't go with that. So for starters, I'll also get the other obvious one, is that it works properly and doesn't crash and have a bunch of bugs. I'd say, honestly, I'd say graphics and RP options. And they sort of can be combined into one for me, because the main thing is that I like to RP a character and get immersed into the world, the way I interact with it. I play very slowly. I don't play it like a video game. Well, that's not the right term. I don't game the system. I don't think, well, I know that this really good dagger is in this cave, and so I'm low level, but if I sneak down this one path, I can go grab it early game and then be really overpowered, and don't care about that. I think about, what would my character do? Would my character want to go in this cave that has a bunch of, skulls on pikes outside? Probably not, unless they're a crazy person, then yeah. And then, I say that ties into graphics, because, honestly, the better a game looks, it does immerse you into the world, a lot. And, Skyrim, when it's not at its base level, doesn't look great. the world itself looks amazing, but the moment you focus on details, it kind of, takes you out of it because it's a little jank looking. So yeah, I do like the graphics to look as good as possible. I'd say stuff I personally don't care as much about. Combat is a big one. I like just a basic combat mod. I'm definitely not someone who enjoys the, either Dark Soulsy combat or just, we've all seen those very flashy videos of Skyrim combat where it's completely over the top, and a lot of people love that. Not for me. So yeah, hope that answers that. Alright, moving on, we have Boss Doz, who asks, what's your favourite overall mod list package you've played? Are there any that received major updates and could warrant a revisiting in a video? Okay, 2 questions. The first one, favourite. So the AVO mod list I've used the most because it looks good, plays well, and is designed for you to mod on top, and so it's been perfect for my top 5 modding videos. And if I did a proper Skyrim playthrough again, I would probably use... I might just use AVO and then add a bunch of my own mods on top. Or... God, it's so difficult choosing. It doesn't help that I've showcased so many lists at this point. Probably, actually, now that I think about it, Living Skyrim 4. Living Skyrim 4 is probably the most impressed I've been with a list. The way it has so much in it, yet it doesn't feel overcrowded. It looks great, it plays great. Yeah, it's actually the video which started this channel, so yeah, I think Living Skyrim probably would be the one I choose. But I could ramble for ages, going through so many lists that I love. Like Strenuous Skyrim, Fable Lore, Wildlander. Actually, so 2 main lists, going for your second question, that I want to look at again. Wildlander, because I made that video the day it released, I think. So yeah, I imagine a lot has changed there. And the second list I really want to cover now is Nolvus. That list has really taken off. I see that one in my recommended YouTube videos all the time, people saying, look at this amazing list, how good it looks, and all that stuff. So yeah, Nolvus and Wildlander are lists I want to revisit relatively soon. GME Control asks 3 questions. Firstly, what is your all-time favourite mod pack? Well, yeah, I pretty much just spoke about that one. Although, yeah, I'm going to go Living Skyrim. I think I'm going to stick with that. 5 mods you couldn't play without. Huh. So I'm going to go a bit outside the box because, looking at Skyrim, stuff like Sky UI, engine fixes, stuff that makes the game work. Obviously, I would never play Skyrim without those, but that's sort of standard at this point. So I think stuff that's a bit more okay. Sky Souls or Skyrim Souls, whichever one it's called, and Fall Souls. Mods for Skyrim and Fallout, obviously. And yeah, they make it so whenever you're in a menu, it doesn't pause the game. And I love that. I was saying before how immersion is a big thing for me. I don't like to be in a fight and I can just pause, bring up a menu, eat a bunch of food, drink a bunch of potions, unpause, and suddenly I'm really powerful. With a menu that's unpaused, it means I have to go into every location fully prepared. Okay, I might not have time to quickly drink a potion right now, or take in Fallout terms, drugs. And so, it adds an extra layer of depth. As for other mods, I've sort of got choice paralysis. There's really too many to choose from. I guess with Skyrim, a bit more vague, but a sort of minimalistic combat mod, like Blade and Blunt, Wildcat, is that what it's called? There's so many, I forget. combat mods that aren't completely flashy, but make the combat much better than just, I swing my sword, you swing your sword, I swing my sword, back and forth, and yeah. I don't know why this one came to mind, but I use it so much. The journal mod for Skyrim, where you can bring up a little journal and write stuff. It's ideal if you want to like create a background for your character, and if you want to get attached to your character, just make a little, tiny diary entries about what's happened, and so you can read back on it and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I was weak and that happened. And again, I don't like gamifying stuff, so I like to actually write in my journal, like quests I gathered, NPCs in their locations, because you can easily fall into, alright, tag a quest in my journal, open the map, teleport there, alright, talk to the character, job done. I like the journey. I don't like to skip that stuff. And I gotta leave it there. There's too many mods. Too many mods. Mod authors need to slow down. Question number... Oh, never mind, I looked at their comment. They asked 10 questions. Alright, I'm gonna do the next one and then move on to someone else and then go sort of back and forth so I'm not focusing all on these one sets of questions. Mods you frequently come across that you wish developers would add to their vanilla games. Example, survival mechanics in New Vegas that were no longer present in later games. Well, eventually they were, but not on release. Yeah, survival, big one for me. Survival is that perfect, like, it's not an extra difficulty slider where enemies have extra health and you have less. Okay, it is, but it doesn't feel like everything's bullet spongy. It's more, you have to prepare more to actually survive the journey. And so yeah, I wish more games had a survival mode. Also, another mod, or like type of mod that I use with so many games, is disabling chromatic aberration and vignette. Get them out my games, don't want them, they look awful. I just hate it when those are on automatically and there's no setting to switch them off. It completely it's too distracting for me. And I guess, another thing I wish more games added, mods do, are menus for tweaking your own difficulty. For example, playing Fallout, using a mod like Survival Options, where you can adjust exact values of, like, how much more damage do enemies deal? How much more damage do you deal? Do you want to save only when you rest, or save whenever? Select options. Do you want food in your inventory to spoil? Do you want it not? So, rather than just selecting, I want survival mode, I want to be able to select, I want survival mode, but I can switch stuff on and off as I like it. In fact, it reminds me, Baldur's Gate 3, just added that, where they added an honor mode, which is like the ultra difficulty, but they also added a custom mode, where you can switch on how easy are my dice rolls, how, can I see what difficulty stuff is, stuff like that. Just more customization the better. Alright, I'm gonna move on to other people and then come back around. Mahin Islam, I hope I said that right. When will you make a mod list overview for Nordic Souls? It's one of the most stable and polished lists I played due to the vanilla feeling. Actually, that's one of the ones I want to get to soon. Obviously, the most common questions I get on my channel are, when are you reviewing this mod list? There's so many mod lists. I'm hoping to review a lot more this year than I did last, or at least the end of last year. I slowed down because I wanted to do a full year of top 5 mod videos, just to say that I did it. Then it was like the holidays and that, so I didn't have much time. But yeah, whatever list people ask am I going to cover, I plan on it eventually. And in this specific case, Nordic Souls, yeah, I planned on that being one I cover much sooner rather than later. Buddy's Game Room says, I'm new to PC. Are the Skyrim mods still working? If so, can you make a video on the best Skyrim mods after the update? So yeah, Skyrim mods are still working. My recent video talking about why Skyrim mods broke, that video really took off out of nowhere. Thank you, YouTube algorithm. But no, it's very, well, it's not that common nowadays. But it used to be very common that Skyrim would update, modding and mods would be sort of broken for a bit, and then it all would catch up. And it's done the same, essentially. The point was that having mods update to this new version was a bigger pain than it should have been. And yeah, there's just a lot of extra details which are making modding more awkward for modders, and so like less people are doing it. But so the point was that it's difficult now, but modding hasn't stopped. You know, it's Skyrim modding, it's gonna keep going forever. So yeah, mods are working. You just have to check with each mod which version of Skyrim it's compatible with. And in terms of making videos on the best Skyrim mods, I mean, I've got all my top 10 videos, or top 5 even, and just looking at the best Skyrim mods, it's too big an ask. There's too many, and honestly, the best ones, probably, they're easy to find anyway. Everyone at this point seems to use like the same select few at the start of their mod list, and then they customize it to their own preference. And plus, as I've been saying, I want to focus more on mod list stuff, so when a great mod comes out, I'll probably showcase it, but it won't be a sort of generic top 5 thing. No Man's Land 77. When it's all, when words are bundled together, my brain doesn't work. They ask, what region is your accent from? It sounds very upbeat, ? So I'm from south of England. Although, my voice, even people in the city I grew up in commented on my voice. I don't know why I sound like this. My parents don't really sound like this. I don't know. I just got sort of very posh, upbeat, sounding voice. I don't know. I remember at school, me talking and someone turning around in the table in front of me and being like, I really like your voice. And it was when it hit me like, huh, that's strange. I guess I do sound different. And then when I was going to a new school, I had teachers being like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from here. I don't know. It's an enigma, I guess. I just sound strange. This isn't even a question. Andrew Sullivan just says, your accent reminds me of Brodual. Sure, I mean, if there's anyone I want to remind you of, it's that person. Honestly, he's not made mod videos for so long, and I see everyone being like, God, I miss Brodual. And I could kind of see in the future my videos being like his, so, you know, if there's a goal, a niche in the market I want to fill, could go that direction. Garden Data asks, what's 9 plus 10? 910. Vietnam Flashback asks, would you rather have unlimited bacon but no games, or unlimited games but no games? Now, given your question and your username, something tells me you used to watch Machinima Inbox. I watched that too, it was great. Geez, that must have been so long ago now, I need to explain what it is. Do I need to explain what Machinima was? Do people remember Machinima? Back in the day, that was like the gaming YouTube channel, back when YouTubers would like sign up with a specific partnership, whatever you'd call it. And so, you know, you'd have like 50 gaming YouTubers who were all under the Machinima brand, and a lot of their videos would go up on the Machinima channel. And yeah, there was one show called Machinima Inbox, where it's two very funny guys, who still are on YouTube, I think, reading user comments, and it was a ton of fun. And anyway, to answer the question, I'll take unlimited bacon but no games, because at least I have games. Biggie Boss asks, what is your favourite flavour of ice cream? I very often, more often than I should, get a Ben & Jerry's brownie. I don't know its like proper name, but it's chocolate and it just has brownie chunks in it. Ooh, lovely. So yeah, I like me some chocolate. And then we'll go back to GME Control, who asks a bunch of questions. Their fourth one, what went wrong with Starfield in your opinion? Why did they opt for wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle when it comes to the planets and such? Here's the thing, not played Starfield. I know, it was like my most anticipated game. My channel covers Bethesda games. The game came out, I streamed it for like a couple hours, and it didn't work on my PC. It ran terribly. I even made a rant video talking about how terribly it performs. If you hear any crying, that's my cat. She's currently... I'm wearing a dressing gown, and she's inside my dressing gown, snuggled up, so... yeah. Like, I've watched plenty on Starfield now, because everyone likes to talk about it. Yeah, everyone has an opinion at this point. And, you know, I can comment on the stuff I've seen, but I'm not going to give, like, a proper review or judge it, because, yeah, I've not properly played it yet. I'm waiting for them to fix a bunch of stuff, and then I'll dive in, and it can have my judgment. The one thing that does concern me, which I'll say, is that Bethesda are masters at designing world spaces, creating locations. Skyrim's map, I think there's an argument to be made, it's the best video game map ever created. And Fallout, I love Fallout games, and the world, the destroyed worlds just have such a charm to them, despite being like ruins. And then you get to Starfield, and from what I've seen, there's a lot of reused buildings on different planets, like randomly generated points of interest. Apparently, you know, it's kind of rare, but they do repeat, and that's a big no-no for me. I should never land on two different planets and be like, wait, they both have the exact same building, with the exact same people in, with the exact same layout. Like, nothing destroys my immersion more than that. And, like, I'm not against procedural generated stuff. You know, the idea of exploring a planet's surface sounds cool to me. But stuff being less handcrafted just doesn't suit Bethesda. Number 5, do you have any mods in particular that scared or surprised me in unexpected ways? Huh. Scared? I don't really play scary mods, honestly. I mean, the obvious one is, oh god, I've forgotten the name. That Halloween spooky mod pack for Fallout 4. I mean, that's obviously scary. But, no, not really. There was that one Skyrim mod with the Weeping Angels it added, but, again, I'm gonna say no. None are standing out. Question 6. Do you think difficulty, realism, and survival mechanics help towards achieving a sense of immersion? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, absolutely. All those things. Obviously, they're vague terms. You know, we could go into detail about what each of those things, like, truly mean. But yeah, they all help towards immersion. And I'll say the main thing that builds immersion is how a world reacts to you. You know, Bethesda games, one thing they keep getting right is the fact that you can look at a bunch of objects and you can pick them up, chuck them across the room, you know, interact with them however you want. That does a lot. There was that Valve documentary about the creation of Half-Life that released a couple months ago, which you should definitely watch. It's a great documentary. And there was that bit where Gabe Newell was like, part of what made Half-Life stand out is that, like, they had the philosophy of how the world should react to you. So, you know, it sounds obvious now, but at the time it was revolutionary, where if you shoot the wall, it should leave a bullet hole. And like, if you have a turret shooting, like if there's a turret in Half-Life shooting at you, you can pick up a crate and chuck it and quickly use it as cover before the crate breaks, and then run along. Stuff like that, where the world isn't static. And that's probably the biggest thing for immersion for me. Question 7. Can you think of any particularly impressive or memorable mods for other games? For example, GTA San Andreas has the Ragdoll Physics mod, and so on. Alright, looking outside Skyrim and Fallout, I mean, there's Minecraft. I could go on and on about all the mods for Minecraft. I haven't played modded Minecraft in many years, but yeah, they're complete game changers, and then they make new games on their own. So yeah, not anything specific there, but that comes to mind. Red Dead Redemption, survival mods for that I think are great. And also the mod which makes you earn less money is great, because you earn way too much money in that game, and you don't feel like a bunch of low-life cowboys trying to barely scrape by. Like, by the end of the game you're rich, so having less money I think is way better. What else? The Mass Effect games each have huge community patches and mods which add more diversity to the NPCs, like the general ones you see in the landscape, and it makes the games flow way better. Like there's just a general consistency between the three, and yeah, that's definitely a good game changer. But yeah, that's all I can think off the top of my head. Question 8, how do you feel about the games industry? Or how do you feel the games industry has been impacted due to modding? Do you think popular mods ever inspire game developers to push their games further? I mean, modding has built the games industry. I think a lot of people forget that many of the biggest games, like ever, are or originated as mods. I mean, think Dota. Wasn't that a Warcraft mod? TF2. Wasn't it? No. Was Team Fortress? I know that was a Valve game, but did it start off as a mod for Counter-Strike? Am I forgetting that? Look at Gary's mod, which is a mod based on the Source engine. All the mini games that people have created in that, Prop Hunt, that's now like a huge genre on Steam. You have like the murder mods, where one person is the murderer and they've got to stab everyone while one's like a detective. There's loads of games now that take after that. So many, like maybe not necessarily big AAA games, but a lot of like smaller, sometimes indie games are very much inspired by mods. And of course you see stuff like CD Projekt Red. Their updates to The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk have all been very much inspired by mods. In fact, they bring modders in to help make the games. And even Bethesda. I mean, yeah, Bethesda hire a bunch of modders as well. So yeah, not only do I think modding has impacted the games industry, I think it's a big, like, the games industry is not what it is without it. Number 9, your favourite modded weapon and armour set of all time. That, again, choice paralysis. If I'm looking at Skyrim, I genuinely, I couldn't answer that. I really can't. Maybe immersive weapons, because it adds a bunch of new weapons. And then just, I don't know, throw immersive armors on top. But yeah, I can't give an answer to that, truly. There's no one where I'm like, this is the one that I use. It honestly varies depending on what kind of playstyle I'm doing. Although I will say for Fallout 4, there's one that for some reason, one weapon mod I can't live without. It's, I guess, nostalgia, because it was like my first I used. It's the Tomakuzi, it's called. It's a mix of like an Uzi and a Thompson, and it's got like fun colours, and it just looks so cool. And I don't know, that look it up. It's the one weapon mod that I always use. And then number 10, what's in store for Dropped Ice Cream in 2024? Well, that's a fitting ending, although I've kind of did that as a start, so yeah, like I said, mainly focusing on mod lists, doing the showcases. I'm aware that my showcases are often very similar to each other. It's sort of like the familiarity, the familiar creative process for each mod list video. I got comfortable with it, but it started getting to the point where each one was feeling like the last, so I'm gonna try push away from that. It's difficult because I still want it like broken up into sections, so it's always going to overlap and sound somewhat similar. But yeah, I don't want to keep repeating the same lines over and over. I realise it can get a bit much. Oh yeah, also I do want to stream more. That's my goal like all the time, and I keep forgetting to do it. Or, well, being lazy, and I don't know what to play on stream, but yeah, I want to stream more on Twitch and on YouTube, because why not? Yeah, that wraps up the questions. Thank you all for asking. I'll do more Q&As if people are interested. Either one at the end of every year, or more if people really want more. I don't know, let me know. And finally, I just wanted to chat about games, because, I like them. So I thought, let's go on my Dropped Ice Cream Steam year in review, and so I can look back at all the new stuff I played. So January 2023, ignoring the fact that throughout the entire timeline it says I played Skyrim and Fallout, obviously. What do we start with? Vampire Survivors, an incredibly addictive and great game, where you shoot lots of creatures with broken builds of items that all charge at you. If you want a game that's addictive, get Vampire Survivors. Then I played Horizon Zero Dawn for the first time, and I gotta admit, I didn't like it. I really tried. I think the idea is like a 10 out of 10 idea, and I think the execution just didn't hit for me. The world was so interesting, and then I started talking to NPCs, and god, they were so boring and generic. I don't know, it completely lost me when I did a side quest, and it was just the most generic, oh hey Aloy, can you help find this thing for me? I really need your help, bye. And I was like, come on, this is such an interesting world, you can do better than that. And yeah, I just didn't enjoy the characters, which is a shame. I beat it, I did it from start to finish, and I might play the second one if the combat looks great in the second one, and I do enjoy stuff like Monster Hunter, and it sort of has Monster Hunter vibes, but I will only play the second if the story is better. I don't know. I know a lot of people that like it, but just wasn't my jam. What else? Just looking at new stuff. I revisit stuff often. Alright, then I played the Mass Effect trilogy, and I enjoyed it so much that it's in my top 5 games now. The Legendary Edition, I just bundled the games together. And I even made a video for it on my channel, just talking about how much I loved it. I love them. I can't talk about them enough. But I'm gonna not, because it will take up the video. Just incredible games. The first one's my favourite because I think it has the best vibes. It's sort of like a lot slower space exploration, which is my jam. The second one has the best character moments, and just all the characters are incredible in it. And the third one is just like a Hollywood blockbuster. It's epic in scale, and I even love the ending. I like the ending. I won't say love. I like the ending. So yeah, start to finish, incredible experience. Then I played Doom Eternal. It's Doom. I don't know what to say. It's fast-paced, you shoot things, it knows what it is, and gets the job done. Honestly, I think I enjoyed the first 2016 Doom more than Eternal. Eternal, it honestly got like too chaotic at parts. There were so many different mechanics and weapons you can use, and in so many enemies at once, and it got to the point where like I was moving so fast and using so many different weapons and mechanics all at the same time that it like the screen became a blur and it started becoming a bit too much for me. I think the original Doom was like had the good balance of it. It was very fast paced but not like overly chaotic. Then moving on in the year, what else did I play? My friend Pedro, where you play as a guy shooting a bunch of stuff. God, that's the worst description. It was good. It was a good like 5 hours of a game I played. You like go down a 2D platformer looking level, where you hold like a weapon in each hand and you can aim in different directions. It's quite fast pace. No, it was good. What else did I play this year? A lot of revisiting, a lot of Skyrim and Fallout. Northern Journey, yes. It's an indie game that's a first-person shooter puzzle platformer, I guess is how I'd describe it. Honestly, one of the best indie games I've ever played. Incredible. I'd say the first half of the game is an easy 10 out of 10, like amazing. Just it's one of the best atmospheres in a game I've ever played. The music, the just overall tone, the look of everything is incredible. Made by a single person, which is very impressive. And like the movement is really fast paced and you're like zooming around these beautifully designed levels. I can't recommend it enough. The reason I say the first 2/3 are a 10 out of 10, and then the last third is like 7 out of 10. You can like tell as this solo developer made the game, his vision for what it is changed, and it went from this like puzzle platformer shooter to just a first-person shooter that's a lot more linear. So yeah, the final act is way more going down corridors, shooting stuff, and the story sort of becomes a bit strange. And it's not saying it's bad, it's just, compared to the first half, which is incredible, like an amazing experience, and everyone should play it. Do give it a go. I can't recommend it enough. Moving on. Mass Effect Andromeda I then tried. You know what? It's not that bad. It's nowhere near as good as the Mass Effect trilogy, but I'm so used to everyone saying it's like the worst game ever made. It's alright. It started off pretty good, and then like a quarter into it, I was like, oof, I'm not feeling this, it's not great, I don't like any of the characters, the story isn't very good. And then, I stuck with it, and I found myself actually really liking the characters in the end, and I was like, I was expecting these people to be a lot more one-dimensional than they are. And the story is, it's good. It's nothing great, but it's pretty good. It definitely helped that I sort of ignored all the, huge amount of filler stuff there is, and a good amount of side quests. I just went for the main story, from each main mission to main mission, and it flowed way better than I assume. If I tried doing everything it has to offer, I imagine it would get pretty stale. But no, I actually surprisingly enjoyed it. Then I played Capybara Spa, where you bathe capybaras. Yeah, it was good mindless 3 hours. Monument Valley, a very popular puzzle game. It's just a solid puzzle game. If you like a puzzle game, you want to play one that's 5 hours long, can't go wrong with it. Same with World of Goo, which I played next. And it's crazy because, the day I finished World of Goo 2 was announced after, 10 years or whatever. So, For a brief moment, I was the main character. But again, yeah, a solid, fun puzzle game, if you like short, fun puzzle games. Then we reach August, where Baldur's Gate 3, it arrived. It's easily, without a doubt, Game of the Year. You don't need me to talk about it, you've heard everything. From start to finish, I put like 160 hours into my save, just one save, and loved every second of it. And like the only thing I didn't like was the ending, and they've patched it and made it better. So, you know, there's not really anything bad I can say about it. The characters are incredible. Yes, just amazing. Next I played Bugsnax on stream. Yeah, it was a fun, cute little game. I didn't love it, didn't hate it, it was just a very inoffensive, fun time. Then started Starfield, played 2 hours, not touched it again because it just doesn't work. I open the game every patch they do to see how it's running. Still runs pretty poor. Yeah, there's a lot to say about how Bethesda are handling this, but I won't get into it. Then I played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Borderlands is easily one of my most favourite game franchises. I love all those games. I love most of those games. And Wonderlands was actually very good. I've seen a lot of people complain about it because the end game just is pretty bad. And yeah, that's a big thing they dropped the ball on. But as someone who plays Borderlands games for the story and the campaign, which I know is very rare, and for that, Wonderlands is actually one of the better entries in the series. Next I played Rollerdrome, the rollerblading, shooting, third-person shooter, skateboarding kind of game. Very unique, I'll give it that. It's there's no other game I can think like it, and it was a solid amount of fun. I didn't love it, but that was more because of personal preference stuff rather than it being a bad game, because it is a very good game. Then I played Chop Goblins, a sort of like old boomer shooter, as they're called nowadays, where you shoot a bunch of goblins, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's short, it can get pretty difficult if you want it to be. It has a good amount of variety going. Yeah, a solid fun time. Then I played SpongeBob Battle of Bikini Bottom, the remake, and you know what? It's actually pretty good. I wasn't expecting to like it, especially because I'm not a fan of platformers, but it was a pretty good game. It was like, yeah, I don't know. It surprised me. It was very fun. The combat was simplistic, you know, but it's a children's game, really. But the level design was pretty impressive. So yeah, good job, SpongeBob. Oh yeah, there was also Super Mario Wonder, which is easily the best 2D Mario game I've played since the new Super Mario Bros. On the DS. Again, platforming's not my thing, and it's been like I've tried many 2D Mario platformers, because, you know, it's Mario, you gotta give it a go. And I'd never really get that far, but no, Wonder fully beat, and yeah, it's actually creative, and tries new things. So good job, Nintendo. And then, finally coming to December, I played, and I'm still playing Brotato, which is kind of like Vampire Survivors. It's very good. I'm really enjoying it. You play a little spud who shoots enemies. The more you shoot, the more gear you can buy, then more enemies spawn, and so on. Simple. Oh, and I also beat Skyrim's main story for the first time. I can't forget that. I did a full playthrough on my channel, where I purely focused on the main story, because I knew if I was going to do side quests, not only would the playthrough go on forever, but also I would probably never actually beat the main story, because it's what happens with every time I play Skyrim. I focus on the side stuff, forget the main story, never beat it. And it's, yeah, it's good. It's how I'd describe it. You know, it's got its problems. In fact, I'd say the problems mostly stem from Skyrim's gameplay. And what I mean by that is, you have a lot of dungeon diving where you have these ruins, and you finally come to a puzzle, and the puzzle is just turning stones. Like turning 3 stones to match an image. And that's cool the first couple times you do it, but then you quickly realise, oh, these are like the only puzzles Skyrim has. Could have done with some variety there. And also, Skyrim's combat sort of betrays the story, especially at the very end, when you're fighting Alduin. Even with mods that make Alduin more difficult, just Skyrim's AI is not designed to fight multiple things at once and have it be fair. Like, this big dragon was fighting me and like 5 other NPCs at once, and, you know, the AI and the animations aren't designed to target that many people, and so we all just were punching him on the ground, and Alduin died so easily, and it just made for a sort of anti-climax, like, oh, guess that's it then. And then you also have, like, the mission where you're meant to sneak around the party, and it's like, I wasn't sneaky at all, I ended up just running about with a hammer, hitting everyone. Changed nothing. People still, like, all the guards knew I was there, but the actual quest and the outcome in that was exactly the same. So yeah, the gameplay kinda lets it down. But as for the story, it's pretty good. It's a solid, the world is ending story. I do enjoy the dungeon diving and finding artifacts and stuff. Yeah, it encourages exploration, which is obviously Skyrim's biggest achievement. And like, there were a few good NPCs. Obviously, Parthenax is like a standout one, but they weren't like the strong suit. It's like, I mean, it's how I felt with pretty much every Bethesda game, where the main story, it isn't bad by any means, but it's not like super memorable and great. It gets the job done, and it's serviceable enough because the main draw of those games is the world and exploration. So yeah, like a solid 7 out of 10. Oh, I finally completed Celeste. It's been so many years, I've never beaten that game. I keep restarting it and then not getting very far. But I was like, no, I'm climbing to the top of this mountain. And it's difficult because it's a very well-made game. It's just a very good game in general. But I don't like feeling frustrated, and I felt very frustrated. And so it's hard for me to say that I liked it. But it's a really good game. It's weird. It's kind of like, it's why I don't play a lot of Souls-likes and stuff, because I'm so conflicted where I'm like, it's a good game, but boy, I hate feeling frustrated. And so, yeah. But I reached the top of the mountain, so yay. Lunastice, I think that's how you say it. It's a sort of like old retro-y third-person platformer. It's good. I've seen a lot of people say they love it. Simply not for me. Just, yeah, third-person platformers, not my kind of thing. Didn't love it. Spring Falls, a like 3-hour-long puzzle game about waterfalls. Very calming. I like playing those types of games every now and then, where I can just sort of sit back, vibe with some ambient music, and do a little puzzle game. And finally is appropriately named The Finals, the new free-to-play shooter, and yeah, it's great. It's been a long time since I've gotten into a multiplayer first-person shooter. This is the first one in years that I've really dived into and enjoyed. I'm not sure, like, I don't stick with multiplayer shooters for that long. I used to back in the day when I was a young'un, but nowadays I don't really stick with them. But for the like 10 hours or so I've played so far, really enjoyed it. And yeah, that wraps this up. Let me know what you've played in the comments, and have a good 2024, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and just many thanks. Farewell.